In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Spot some new patriotic stuff. Canvases. I wanted to make a quick video. Like a brief defense of, against these people who are against the Second Amendment and stuff. This is a good book. I recommend this one, the Second Amendment Manifesto. It's a short read, but it has a lot of good information. Actually, I was able to retain a lot of stuff from that because it wasn't so overly complicated. And there's this one I just bought. It's a little bit bigger. It's more detailed. And also about this one, it's kind of hard to read too because it's got a lot of, statistic stuff. Goes over the so-called studies, gun control myths and stuff like that. Well, they're just 3 points, I guess. 3 points. Because I think simple points that can help people kind of come back into reality when it comes to the right of self-preservation, which is just what the Second Amendment's about. Because at work I was kind of had a brief argument, obviously some leftists, right? I mean, I'm neither right or left, but I think there's a lot of wisdom in the Constitution and in our founders, right? But I noticed they didn't really say anything, because after I said, after I said something after I said this, it just kind of showed they didn't say anything. They kind of put their heads down. They were filled with shame because because they know they're being deceitful. That they're going around saying how, basically, because the idea is that it's the gun owner's fault, right? It's the Second Amendment's fault or something, and that's why there's so many school shootings or something like that. But then it's and this is what I said, it caused them to feel shame. I said, yeah, there's a lot of deranged people out there, because, to be honest, that's all the statistics are proving, that deranged people kill children and stuff like that. And so I wish the FBI would step in and do their job. And that's when they just kind of put their heads down, they knew the truth about that. And so they didn't even say anything because they know they were being deceptive, right? All the lies and stuff. And so about, the FBI knowing if there was a potential school shooter and not stepping in and doing their job, and how that makes them look like they're irresponsible, immoral, and incompetent. Because how many times has this happened, right? Where they've had, that we've had dozens of school shootings, right? And supposedly they knew beforehand that there was a potential threat, but they didn't step in to do anything about it. And I told them how the people this one guy I was talking to at work. Yeah, I told them that there's probably some anti-gun people in the FBI or something, and that would allow it to happen so that we could talk about gun control again or something, right? And so that's why I said that those people who allow it to happen are just as deranged as the school shooter. And just like those people who spew the lies and propaganda are also just as deranged as that school shooter, because they both stand on the grave of those dead children to make a statement, to promote a political agenda, right? And so what kind of deranged people is that? Those are sick, immoral people. And so that's just one point of showing how your government cannot protect you, even though it has the power to, except when it doesn't, right? And so the other 2 points has to do with the fact that, our government right now, right, they're, it's they tell you all these things that, taking away the Second Amendment or banning guns, confiscating guns, that we're so violent, even though it's only, gun violence is about 5 to 7 major cities in certain states, right? It's just not, that's not all 50 states. So they make it sound like it's like a gun violence epidemic all around America, but it's not, right? And also it's about that they count suicide deaths or whatever to make it seem worse. But I'm saying, like, the idea is that that your government supposedly, prevents mass violence or knows how to prevent mass violence, right? But they actually don't, because they partake of mass violence all the time. I mean, how many people have we bombed, right? Like the Middle East, decades of bombing the Middle East. That's a type of mass violence. That's what I said. And then, I mean, another thing is that why should we have to lose our God-given natural rights to this kind of government, or why do we have to give up anything at all? Just because they don't want to do their job, and they're so immoral. And to finish my second point, I was just saying, like, that our government basically knows how to partake of mass violence rather than prevent it. And on top of that, I was remembering, one of them, brought up Obama and Sandy Hook and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, but I remember this, that Obama's, drone strikes killed a bunch of kids in the Middle East, right? Supposedly. And from I was reading from one of the books, that there's a certain amount, like about 40% or something, where a lot of those drone strikes that killed children, it was by accident. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, these 3 points, right, demonstrate that they really cannot protect you, and that there are dumb people in government. They're not infallible, omniscient, right? Like some of these people who are pro-government, and they want to say how they care about dead children, but they support this government that bombs and kills a bunch of children through drone strikes by accident, supposedly. I mean, that's what they said. Won't they been to prevent, school shootings when they could, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, you really want to concede all your rights and concede more power and liberty, to this kind of immoral government that's been demonstrated to partake of mass violence, be corrupt. What else? Yeah, demonstrates incompetence, And so I like to remind people of that. That these people who have so much faith in, this belief that government can protect you. But the idea is that they could, but they don't have to, right? Just because they can doesn't mean they will. And so that's why the natural right of self-preservation is a God-given natural right to resist violent oppression, especially if it comes from government or not, right? And so I just wanted to keep my video brief. I'm just basically undermining this idea that government can't protect you if you just give up your liberty and your freedoms, right? Or something like that. But even though peace and security, liberty and freedom, they go together. The less free you are, the more vulnerable you become to some kind of, you become more vulnerable to some kind of oppression. And so that's why it's not safe. Just believe everything you hear, so anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. As far as like a simple defense of, Second Amendment against anti-gun, people. Anyway, name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.